It is Sunday, June 6, 2021. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. Welcome to LCJ Live. Send in your questions and your comments. I can read them right here today on LCJ Live. Big box office news, a big upset. If you thought A Quiet Place Part 2 was going to win again, well, guess what? It got semi-crushed by The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. $24 million for the latest installment in Warner Brothers horror movie franchise, while the Paramount movie franchise Week 2, Quiet Place, settles for second with $19.5 million. I congratulate Warner Brothers and The Conjuring on pulling off this box office upset. A bit of a surprise, even though The Conjuring has a core following just like Quiet Place, but the horror movie fans clearly went out last weekend for A Quiet Place, came back for The Conjuring, 24 to 19.5. A Quiet Place Part 2 is up to $88.6 million after 10 days. It's about $100 million away from matching what the original did in 2018. With a fall like this, I'm not sure A Quiet Place Part 2 is going to pass 150 at this point. Maybe even less than that. We'll have to see how it does over the next several weeks. Paramount has already announced a third installment in the Quiet Place saga. People still love their horror, says Brett Harity. Absolutely. Paramount's already announced another installment in the Quiet Place franchise, but it's not directly A Quiet Place Part 3. It's going to be this expanded universe movie from Jeff Nichols, who did Midnight Special. I'm not so sure if people are going to want an expanded universe and just want Part 3 already. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe Paramount and them, John Krasinski, they have a meeting and say, you know what? Maybe we should just do Part 3 and get this thing going and get this thing done with. Maybe that's the strategy going forward, especially with this Week 2 fall for A Quiet Place Part 2. Cruella, not a gigantic fall, down to $11.2 million. It's up to $43.7 million after 10 days. That's not bad. Fairly close-ish to what A Quiet Place did. Shellfish Beach, is that a new phone? I am using a different phone. So if you are noticing the great camera quality, that is awesome, because I am trying out a different phone today here for LCJ Live, so I appreciate that comment very much. Cruella, not bad, 11.2. It could hold steady for a couple weeks. Now, Spirit Untamed, $6.2 million for the DreamWorks animated movie. I wasn't expecting Spirit Untamed to do gigantic numbers. 6.2 is not bad, considering the movie aims for young children, primarily girls, those who have watched the Spirit Writing Free television series on Netflix. 6.2 is okay. Peter Rabbit 2, the Runaway, is going to make more money than that next weekend. It has to. Peter Rabbit has that following from the first movie 3 years ago. It made a lot of money for Sony. People are going to make the headlines, and they already are. Oh, Spirit Untamed was one of the lowest opens ever for a DreamWorks animated movie. But this is not your typical DreamWorks animation movie. Your typical one is like Boss Baby 2, coming out in a few weeks on July 2nd, which is probably going to make DreamWorks and Universal a lot of money. Spirit Untamed had a lower budget. It had a different marketing strategy. I think in other times it may have gone to a streaming service like Netflix instead, or just Peacock, or just Hulu, depending on where DreamWorks and Universal would have put it. But the fact that Universal cared enough to put this out in the theater shows that they wanted families to have the theatrical experience, kick off the summer with an animated movie in theaters, and it's a nice film. It is. It's a sweet movie. Young kids will enjoy it. Parents should enjoy it as well. The themes, the messages, the glow of the animation. Bednar, what is the Rabbit Pez dispenser? Does Peter Rabbit 2 come out soon? Yes, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, this Friday. And I've got 2 Rabbit Pez dispensers for Peter Rabbit 2. So those are my 2 Pez dispensers for that. So $6.2 million for Spirit Untamed. Raya the Last Dragon still pulled in $1.3 million. Same with Wrath of Man. Spiral, $890,000. Godzilla vs. Kong, $463,000. It's at $99.1 million. Godzilla vs. Kong, $900,000 away from crossing $100 million. Here's the question. Does Godzilla vs. Kong make $900,000 first? Or does A Quiet Place Part 2 make $11.4 million first? Which of the two movies is going to cross that $100 million mark first? It's a good battle. The studios are wondering. They're going to talk about that, discuss that, look into that over the next few weeks of what could happen there, which movie will cross $100 million. If I had to put money on it now, Maybe A Quiet Place does it. It depends on how low the Godzilla numbers are during the week, but maybe A Quiet Place does it first. But that's a really good battle. Demon Slayer, 458,000, and rounding out your top 10 this weekend is Dream Horse with another 230,000. I highly recommend you see Dream Horse too. Two good horse movies out now, Spirit Untamed and Dream Horse. Toni Collette has never been better. Great performance from her. I think more people are going to discover this maybe in the fall, and on DVD it could have a life of its own there. But I do recommend you go see that. If you are able to. A lot of big movies out this week. If you're just joining us here on LCJ Live, a lot of big movies. I have seen a few of them. One is Wish Dragon. This is a new Netflix Sony animated movie that's on Netflix this Friday, June 11th. And I talk with director Chris Applehan's new LCJ Q&A podcast episode and AnimationScoop.com Q&A tomorrow with Chris Applehan's. We talk about Jackie Chan being a producer on the movie. He also voices Long the Dragon in the Mandarin version of the film. John Cho voices Long the Dragon in the American version. We talk about his thought process behind making the movie, why it's a passion project for him, where the story influences come from, and some key scenes and fun moments in the movie. So that new LCJ Q&A for Chris Applehan's is tomorrow. Sony is doing a lot with animation this summer. They are. Between Mitchell's vs. the Machines, this, Hotel Transylvania 4 in theaters July 23rd, and Vivo, which is coming to Netflix later this summer, date to be announced soon. It's a big summer for Sony Animation. I was talking with one of the PR people, and I was like, yeah, you haven't had a movie for 2 years, and all of a sudden, bam, you got 4 in a 4-month period almost. It's pretty remarkable, because their last film before Mitchell's was the Angry Birds movie 2 back in August of 2019. So I've seen Wish Dragon. It's a nice movie, gorgeous animation, and also the storyline of Din and Lena, who are reconnecting after about 10 years, is really the emotional core of the film. There is a lot with Long the Dragon, and there's some fun moments with him and some interesting moments of where Chris Applehan's takes that genie-type character, in this case the dragon. Excuse me. But Din and Lena's relationship is the emotional core, and it brought me back to some moments throughout my life and made me think about some things and the core ideals of friendship and moving away and losing people and trying to have them come back into your life. There's a lot there for Wish Dragon, so that is this Friday on Netflix. Now, In the Heights, the big musical, is in theaters this Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. Very early start. The Warner Brothers is doing these Thursday early showings for In the Heights. I saw this almost a month ago, back on Mother's Day. I was able to experience it in the theater. I've shared a little bit of my thoughts on it so far, but my full rapid review of In the Heights will be out tomorrow. Look for it on Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, YouTube.com/LightsCameraJackson, and the website lights-camera-jackson.com. Look for that rapid review of In the Heights. I've been saving it for a week of because I saw it so early, and Warner Brothers did lift the embargo pretty early for critics, but I wanted to save my thoughts for the week because it's a big movie. That's the battle this week. The battle is In the Heights versus Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. Versus, I guess, week 2 of The Conjuring, though horror movies tend to take a fall. Who will win? I think it could be In the Heights, but if the Peter Rabbit, if families are ready for that, bigger fan base than Spirit Untamed, then families will come out for Peter Rabbit 2. What could throw a monkey wrench into both of those movies is Lionsgate doing early Friday and Saturday night showings of The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. They're even doing screenings in some places on Thursday night for that movie. The sequel with Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds, which comes out next Wednesday, June the 16th, 10 days from now. But Lionsgate putting it out early, nighttime shows Friday, Saturday. That could steer some people away from In the Heights. The older crowd. We'll have to see how those showings do. Also out this week, just in Texas, is a film called 12 Mighty Orphans. It's a true story football drama. I have seen that. Martin Sheen, Luke Wilson. It's good. It's a good film. I'll have more of my thoughts on it. It goes wide on the 18th. Infinite is a new film on Paramount Plus this Thursday. New Mark Wahlberg action movie. I am looking forward to watching it. I may be watching it tonight, and I'll have my thoughts on it later this week. It was Mark Wahlberg's birthday yesterday, I believe. Happy birthday, Mark Wahlberg. And, Infinite. Another, I guess it's another time travel loop, redo your day over and over again movie. I don't know too much about it, but I know there's a little of that involved, at least in the core story. But I know Paramount has been wanting to put this film out there for a while. Mark Wahlberg turned 50 yesterday, by the way. Wow, big birthday for him. Happy 50th, Mark Wahlberg. Paramount's wanted to put this movie out for a while. They thought it was going to go to theaters. They moved it a couple times, but now here's Paramount Plus coming in hot now with SpongeBob content. This Quiet Place will be on there in about 35 days, and Paw Patrol the movie now going to be on Paramount Plus August 20, the same day as it opens in theaters, which I think is a very smart move. I received an email notification this morning from the folks at Disney that I'm looking to get the first 2 episodes of Loki. So I'm looking forward to watching those. The first episode debuts this Wednesday, June 9th on Disney Plus, the latest Marvel series. Already Disney Plus has had so much success with WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now here comes Loki with his new show. So I look forward to watching the first couple episodes of that. Thank you to the folks at Disney and Pixar for sending me some scrumptious goodies yesterday to make some great Italian food for Luca, which opens at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood next Friday, June 18th, and that same day it'll be everywhere on Disney Plus for everybody to check out for free. No additional fee required. You pay the additional fee for Cruella, but for Luca, it's just right there on Disney Plus. I'll have my LCJ Q&A podcast episode and animationscoop.com Q&A with director Enrico Casarosa and producer Andrea Warren next Monday, June 14th. I talked with them the other day. We had a great conversation. It was actually our second conversation because we talked on April 1st after members of the press had seen the first 30 minutes of the movie. Now that I've seen all 96 minutes of the movie, I was able to talk with them about it and some key moments that I really like from the film. The third act of Luca is new classic Pixar. It will bring you back to some of those moments you may have felt watching Up, may have felt watching maybe Nemo for the first time, or Ratatouille for the first time, or of course the final act of Toy Story 3. It reminded me of those. The way Enrico does certain things with the certain storylines, it's gonna tug at the heartstrings. It is, and that's what really works. I like the film as a whole, but that third act has a lot going for it. Could it be enough for Luca to win Best Animated Feature throughout next award season? It's really too early to tell, but I think it's got a good chance. I do, based on the film that I watched the other night. I think Luca has a good chance of those possibilities for the next award season. If you're just joining us here on LCJ Live, send in your questions, your comments. I can read them right here. A lot of movies out, and I put up a Twitter poll yesterday of which podcast, if I were to start a new podcast, which one would you like me to do? Would you want it to be a podcast on the LCJ archives? Would you want it to be on celebrity stories, TV series finales, or every film I've ever seen? And after a lot of votes came in, and as Ryan Seacrest would say, dim the lights, here we go, we have the results. And 48% of you want me to do every film I've ever seen. So I appreciate you voting for that. The celeb stories came in second, followed by the series finales and then the LCJ archives. Why not all of them? I just got a comment. Why not all of them? Oh gosh, 4 new podcasts or a mashup, that would be a lot. But I appreciate that. Yeah, DJ Rachopo, I know you commented yesterday too, the Back to You podcast, but for the middle. Think about the Back to You podcast, a 1-season show, lasted 17 episodes, and I've done a few since. But the middle ran for 9 years. Middle ran for more episodes, by a few, than Everybody Loves Raymond. So technically, the middle was a more successful show for Patricia Heaton than Everybody Loves Raymond in terms of episode count. Rick should be on the new podcast. I think you're referring to Rick Pixon, who's still deep into writing his book on the madness of award season. I don't know if it'll ever come out, but I know from my last Zoom conversation with Rick Pixon that he's deep into writing that book still. But yeah, thank you for all the votes. I appreciate that for if I should start a new podcast. We'll see. Still got a lot of podcasts going. Back to You may come back in various forms over the next year. We'll have to see what happens there. And of course, the LCJ Q&A podcast and the Too Fast, Two Films podcast that I co-host with Mike Sargent. We reviewed Spirit Untamed this week. We also review Under the Stadium Lights, which is a football drama that's on VOD now with Milo Gibson and Lawrence Fishburne. So if you want to check out that episode, go to toofast2films.com. Also, Flashback is on VOD now with Dylan O'Brien. Next week, when we're here on the podcast, we will talk about the impact of Loki. We will talk about In the Heights and Peter Rabbit. Which movie dominated the box office? Will either take down The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It? How big of a drop will The Conjuring have? And we'll preview some of the other movies coming out for the next week, like Fatherhood with Kevin Hart on Netflix and some other cool movies that I've been able to watch over the past couple nights, but I cannot tell you about yet. I'm sworn to secrecy on some things because of my involvement with the Tribeca Film Festival for 2021, which I thank the folks there very much. I'm excited to share some content with you related to the Tribeca Film Festival starting this week and going into next week. But I still got to be a little hush-hush for a few more days on all of those, but I look forward to sharing all of that with you. As always, follow me on Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, Facebook, LightsCameraJackson, YouTube.com/LightsCameraJackson. The website is lights-camera-jackson.com. I'll have my thoughts on Loki this week, rapid review of In the Heights, new podcast episode for Wish Dragon, and more. Expect more this week. Thank you for watching LCJ Live. I very much appreciate it. I'll see you back here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And enjoy, if you're going to see Peter Rabbit 2, which I may have more on later this week, enjoy Peter Rabbit 2. Two rabbit pezzes for Peter Rabbit 2. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching LCJ Live. Bye-bye.